Today's recap is going to be a lot of fun because we have to talk about the next Shohei Ohtani, and the only reason why people are saying this is that the A's, they just signed a Japanese kid. He's 18 years old. He's a two-way player, so he hits and pitches. He throws right, hits left, he throws hard, he hits bombs, and also his name starts with Sho. Not only that, but the Mets, there's some rumors going around that they're now playing 4D chess with Pete Alonso. They are taking control. They're basically saying to Pete, hey, you have until this time to make a decision, otherwise we're going to move on. And potentially moving on could mean a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trade. I don't think that's going to happen, but the fact that they're leaking this sort of rumor, it's got to scare Pete a little bit. Kind of reminds me of the Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson situation. What if that happens all over again? But we'll talk about all of that and more in today's MLB recap. We talk baseball news every single day, so stick around. Hit that subscribe button if you like baseball. And also, don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Use code FUZZY. So obviously we have some big time stories to talk about in today's video, but before we do that, a few smaller things to discuss real quick. The Giants and the Red Sox made a trade. Blake Sabol, who is the backup catcher slash part-time outfielder slash minor leaguer. He didn't really get a lot of playing time for the Giants last year. Blake is going to the Red Sox in exchange for no one. The Giants, all they wanted in return for Blake is international bonus pool money, and that's not the only trade that they made. They also traded a guy, Elian Peña, and now they have up to $6.1 million in international bonus pool money. They spent a lot of that on the top prospect, Josuhar de Jesus Gonzalez. Again, if I botched that, I'm sorry, but they're calling him the next Francisco Lindor. So the Giants, they're trying to rebuild using international prospects. Not much to say about Elian Peña going to the Marlins. I didn't even know that he existed. So let's talk about Blake Sabol and the fact that he does rake, and he's a catcher slash outfielder similar to Dalton Varsho, minus the platinum defense. Blake Sabol plays terrible defense, but Blake is a big human. He's 6'4" with tons and tons of raw power. And check this out. Last year, I know it was a small sample size, but Blake hit 321 versus righties. Connor Wong, the main primary catcher for the Boston Red Sox, hit 311 versus lefties. I'm not saying that Connor Wong's job is in jeopardy because he was really good last year, but if they can build a sort of platoon situation and give Connor Wong some days off because he does rake and his defense isn't that great either, if they can form a two-headed monster with Sabol and Connor Wong, with Sabol playing some outfielder DH every so often, I like this trade. We have some breaking news. This literally happened as I was recording the last few seconds. Jesse Winker is going back to the Mets. We know that he was a playoff legend. He hit 320 with like a 530 on base in the playoffs last year with one of the better pimp jobs we've seen over the last few years. So that's a breaking update. We don't get these very often as I'm recording, but there you go. Jesse Winker, he's going back to Queens. The Mets also gave $5 million to the 17-year-old international prospect Elian Peña, and he has a 65 hit tool. The last three international guys to come to Major League Baseball with a 65 hit tool: Elian Peña, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he who shall not be named Franco, Wander Franco. Some people on Twitter have been making jokes like Elian is either destined for greatness or jail. So because we just talked about the Mets, this is a perfect time to talk about Pete Alonso, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the whole mess that is going around with both of them right now. I guess you could call this the New York mess. No, but all jokes aside, Vladdy Jr., he's going to be fine whether he's in Toronto or New York. He's going to be just chilling. The biggest problem in the mess comes around Pete Alonso's camp. There are so many reports right now that the Mets are giving Pete Alonso and Scott Boras a deadline, basically saying, hey, we want you to come back. We want you to be a Met, but you can't be dangling your services in front of us while we're trying to better our team because we just got Juan Soto. We're trying to have a competitive club. Either join us or don't. And if you don't, we might have a backup option, which to me is not going to happen. I don't think that the Mets will be trading for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and it's just a scare tactic. I won't even lie to you guys. Pete Alonso really rubbed me the wrong way last season. In my opinion, I feel like he stole an all-star spot from one of his teammates, Francisco Lindor or Brandon Nimmo. Like, it's basically been confirmed that because last year's home run derby was so thin and Major League Baseball needed a big kind of power bat, they got Pete Alonso, but the deal kind of behind the scenes, this is all alleged, this is my opinion, but the deal behind the scenes was that Pete was named an all-star. He would only do the derby if he played like an all-star. He didn't play like an all-star, but was named as an all-star because MLB needed a big bat in the home run derby. That's my conspiracy theory. A few weeks later, a reporter asked Pete, hey, why are your stats regressing? Why do you think you're not performing as well as you used to? Then Pete said, hey, I'm an all-star. I'm on pace for 40 home runs. Well, let me correct that. He said he's on pace to hit close to 40 home runs. I said he was going to hit 34, and that's exactly what happened. He hit 34. So To me, not even close. If you're going to say close to 40 home runs, that's like 38, 39. That's like me saying on Hinge, I'm 6'1" when I'm really 5'9". Oh, great. Great. One more wrinkle in this story that is literally breaking, just like Jesse Winker. Ken Rosenthal is now reporting that the Blue Jays are in the Pete Alonso sweepstakes. What is going on? So basically, in a nutshell, here's what's happening. It seems like the Mets are leaking fake Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trade rumors to try and speed up Pete Alonso. And then behind the scenes, the Blue Jays are now interested all of a sudden in Pete Alonso. Maybe they always have been, but for the Blue Jays fan base, they better pick up someone. Roki, Pete Alonso, and they better not trade Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because it seems like the Blue Jays are the best in the business at missing out on big-time free agents. Oh, this hurts my brain. This is one of the few recaps I've ever made where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I have absolutely no idea what the future holds for Blue Jays fans, Mets fans, Pete Alonso and his family. I don't know. All I know is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be rich regardless. He's going to get $450, $500 million, and maybe it's not going to come from the Blue Jays, so he gets flipped to the Mets. They give him that money, and then the Jays replace Vladdy with a cheaper version, a worse version in Pete Alonso. I don't know. So I guess I'm going to turn it back to you guys. What do you make of the New York Mets? I know I'm making jokes about it, but really, it's all over the place right now. If you had one prediction to make, what is it? Is it Pete going to Queens? Is it Pete replacing Vladdy after Vladdy gets traded? What's going to happen? I'm curious what you guys think. And here we go. The next Shohei Ohtani, question mark, question mark, question mark. I'm not saying that. I'm posing a question. 18-year-old Japanese two-way player Shotaro Morii has been signed by the A's for $1.5 million. Again, the similarities are there. The comparisons are going to be made. He's Japanese. He's a two-way player. His name starts with Sho. He has unreal pop for an 18-year-old, and he throws 95, 96 as a pitcher. He throws right, hits left. The comparisons are going to be there. I'm sorry. But also, I'm not sorry because imagine if this project actually works out. I say the word project because this guy is not as refined as Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani was a bona fide superstar. This kid is going to be a project. That's being nice. Now, the last Japanese player that the A's signed, I believe it was Shintaro Fujinami to begin the 2023 season, and Shintaro had one of the worst starts to a career by any big league pitcher ever. He was shipped to the Orioles. He was a little bit better as a relief pitcher, but we haven't seen him since 2023. If anything, I'm just praying that we see more Shohei Ohtani type builds coming up over the next few years. Now we have a Japanese two-way player in Shotaro Morii. We have Jack Caglione, who was drafted by the Royals after he was a two-way monster with the Florida Gators, and I say monster. He was really good as a hitter, decent as a pitcher, but he throws gas and hits bombs. And that is today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.